I'm here to talk to you about your paper. So if you saw the document that was on there before today, I've made some revisions for it and kind of streamlined the assignment a little bit. So I will make sure that this one has replaced that one early today, and it is the 23rd. So I just kind of want to talk you through the assignment, the essay, and the assignment that you're going to be working through before you do your essay. So first of all, Great Gatsby Essay Planner. In The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald shows several characters who try to achieve the American dream. George Wilson, and he's the dude who owns the garage. Nick Carraway, and he is the one who is the narrator and wants to learn to sell bonds. Right now, just quick reminder: bonds are like stocks. It's an investment opportunity. It's a safer one. Government issues savings bonds, and companies sometimes do too. And you buy the bond, and then the company can use your money, or the government can use your money. And then after 10 years or so, your bond is worth more. So say that you buy your bond for $100 and then you keep the certificate, and then over the next 10 years, it earns money and the government can spend that $100. And then after 10 years, maybe you collect $140 back. Anyway, um, your essay is to show how Gatsby's life and the other characters show that the American dream is unrealistic. So the paper has to be at least 750 words long, use MLA style, and it is due on turnedin.com on Wednesday, April 29th. That is a week from yesterday by midnight or 11:59 p.m. Here is the turnedin.com information for you. I don't know if any teachers have shown you what we see with turnedin.com. Make really careful, extra special careful, sure that you don't plagiarize this paper, right? Lots of people have written similar papers to this. And make sure you don't use any papers from any other students at North, or any students really, or any information from the internet unless you're citing it. What Turnedin.com does is it takes your paper and then anything taken from the internet or any paper that has ever been written and submitted to Turnitin, it puts it in the database, right? So, for instance, 4 or 5 years ago, I had a paper that came back like 92% plagiarized, right? And so what I see when I click on that is I see the student's paper on one side, and then I see the source that it was taken from on the other. And almost the whole paper was highlighted in red, right? Now, if it's taken from an internet source and it's in red, then on the right side of the screen, split screen, there's a website address in red, and you click on that, and that opens the source and finds the place in the source that you took the information from. So then it's your paper and the document side by side, and it's really easy to see what you did. Okay. Also, be careful you don't use any papers that other students have submitted. So with that paper that came back 92% plagiarized, the reason it was so high is because this student submitted a paper that her brother had submitted to class about 5 years earlier. Without Turnitin.com, there's no way I would have caught that, right? Because I read lots and lots and lots of papers. But with that and having it in the database side by side, it's really clear. Any paper which has ever been submitted to Turnitin by any student in any country in the world is in their database, right? So basically any essay you find online will be in there. So please don't cheat. If you get caught plagiarizing, you will have to rewrite a new paper, right, on a new topic. Ordinarily, I would be half credit, write a new paper for half credit, but I'm trying to balance things out a little bit. So please just don't plagiarize because it will catch you. Okay, so you can, if you want to rewatch this explanation, you can see it right here. Let's Now, the goal with this little outline, and I'm going to have you fill this out, and you can either fill this out online and just copy and paste the quotes right into this document and share it back with me, or if you'd rather, you could print the document out and fill it out online, fill it out with pen and pencil and send it back to me, or take a picture of it. Whatever way works for you. And if you also just want to answer the questions on a piece of paper, and skip all of this stuff and just have, what evidence do you have to prove this idea, then that would be just fine too. Whatever works for you, okay? To help you begin to come up with ideas for this essay, I'm going to give you some questions to answer. Now, these questions that you're answering and the quotes that you provide to answer them are going to be the outline of your essay, right? Each of these things you're answering should be a paragraph or two, maybe a little bit more, okay? To help you come up with ideas for your essay, I'm going to give you some questions to answer. These answers will help you plan out your argument and how it will look in the paper. So the first thing you want to show with Gatsby's life, if this book shows the limitations or challenges of the American dream, we need to look at how Gatsby's life helps to prove this point. If the goal of the American dream is the belief that anyone can make money through hard work and belief in oneself, then what Gatsby does in the book shows the challenges of this. So, first of all, how did Gatsby originally want to earn his money from the time he was a kid, and how did he intend to become a rich person in later in life? Now, for these, to kind of streamline this a little bit, because we're not in class together, I'm giving you some chapters that you can go to look for specific information. Now, a very easy way to do this is a little trick, and those of you going off to school somewhere, college somewhere, or if you have to write other papers for other classes, any document you can find online, right? So if you're writing a paper about a book, you can usually find that book online, or sources. You can locate information pretty quickly through using the find feature. So for instance, one thing I'm asking you to look for in chapter 9, it says, Gatsby wanted to earn his money the right way. Look for evidence that his dad brings, a book with a schedule in chapter 9, and information about St. Olaf in chapter 6. So what you can do, and this PDF has its own search find function, but you could do this with any website too, right? With any website, you would hit Control F, and a little box would come up, right? Similar to this, and then you would type in what you're looking for, and then it will locate it on the document for you. So for instance, if I put in schedule, which refers to the schedule that his dad showed him, and then you hit search, takes a minute, but it will search through the whole document for use of that term schedule, right? Now, that will save you a lot of time because, so for instance, we have one here, right? But that's in chapter 4, so that's not the one we're looking for. But we also have other versions of it. It will find all of the versions in the text. It's still looking. I'm going to pause here. There we go. Okay, so it did find it. Here's the schedule I'm looking for, right? It's on page 184. Now, when you were looking for other things, I'm going to give you other kind of search words that you can look for so you can locate the quotes. And then what you can do is you can highlight it, right? And I can't do this on this document because of the screencast-o-matic, but you know how to highlight things. So you click on it, and then you would hit Control-C, which copies, right? And then you go into your document. So let's go back to your document. And then you would hit Control-V, and then it would put the quote right there, right? So this is a really quick, easy way that you can do a lot of research on a text or on a website if you're looking for specific things. And so, for instance, I also gave you to look up some information about St. Olaf in chapter 6. And so if you went into the search engine like that on the doc itself and typed in St. Olaf, you should be able to locate that, right? Make sure you're writing down the page numbers from the PDF and the quote itself. And what we're trying to show here is how much Gatsby wanted to earn his money the right way, right? To show how his life shows the American dream doesn't work. He needs to, from an early age, want to work hard, believe in himself, and try to earn his money and achieve the American dream the right way, right? So we've got 2 bits of information that you're going to find to help prove that Gatsby wanted to earn his money the right way. I mean, the thing is, like, Gatsby ends up becoming a criminal, right? But if Gatsby had not really worked hard at all in his life, and throughout most of the young part of his childhood and his early adult life, he was just lazy, who didn't do anything, and then he realized he wasn't getting anywhere and had to be a criminal, then it wouldn't really be about the American dream, right? It would just be about a lazy dude who became a criminal. But if someone who wants to work as hard as Gatsby does and try as hard as he does to earn it the right way cannot do it legally, that says something about the American dream and how realistic it is, right? Because most people don't try that hard. Okay, so you'll find a couple quotes here, and then when you write your paper, this section you would say Gatsby wanted to earn his money the correct way from an early age. And then you explain how the quotes that you found here as evidence prove that Gatsby from an early age wanted to earn his money the right way. Then the next step is after you show how he wanted to earn his money, how he intended to, you show how he actually does, right? Now, he ends up working with this dangerous dude named Meyer Wolfsheim. And I'm giving you some information to look up for Meyer Wolfsheim as well, right? Now, when you're trying to prove in your paper why it matters that Gatsby worked with Wolfsheim, first you want to show what type of dude Wolfsheim is, and there's a couple good details about Wolfsheim in chapter 4. So I want you to look up for information about his cufflinks and also about the World Series and quote that down, right? because this is showing the type of person that Gatsby works with. Now, for someone who from a young age wanted to earn his money the right way, to when he's about 30, he realizes he's not going to get there, starts working with this dude, and then several years later, he goes from having nothing to having enough money to buy that big house and the big car and all the clothes and throw all the parties, all that stuff. Something happened there, right? Uh, and it's probably not something good nor something legal, right? So here you're trying to show what a powerful dude Wolfsheim is, and that's Gatsby's business partner. So find those quotes about the details about Wolfsheim and then explain why those matter, right? Now, Wolfsheim also in chapter 9 talks about what Gatsby was like when he met him, right? So we know and have proved Gatsby wanted to earn his money the right way, was willing to work really hard. But here in chapter 9, I want you to look for information about what Gatsby was like when he first met him. Okay. Um, and I will give you another kind of search word to look up on that one. I just had neglected to put it, but I will put it on there. Something else to look at in chapter 9, because it talks about what Gatsby was like when he first met him, right? And Gatsby was not in a good spot. Then, after you've shown how Gatsby wanted to earn his money, how he actually does, then you're going to do a short paragraph explaining how Gatsby's life shows the American dream doesn't work, right? If someone who wanted to do it as badly as he did and do it the right way couldn't do it, that doesn't give a lot of hope for anyone else, right? Now, going on, then you're also going to show a couple other characters after you've shown Gatsby's life. These other two characters are going to be pretty small. I'd say probably 2 paragraphs each. So we got George Wilson, and he's the owner of the garage. So your first paragraph for that here, looking for information in chapter 2 about how badly his business is doing, right? We want to show that he works hard, but he is not being successful, right? So trying to show his business and how hard he's working and that it's not successful. And then in chapter 8, I want you to explain what happens to Wilson, right? So he wanted to earn his money the right way. He worked really hard, and then he ends up dead, right? Then you're going to just explain a little bit about here that no matter how hard people work, they're not going to get where they want to get. And Wilson's life showed that, right? So explain a little bit about what Wilson's life says about why the American dream is unrealistic. And then the same thing with Nick. So I gave you some information to look up about Nick, about his family, and about what his goal was in trying to achieve the American dream. So I want you to find that, right? And then in chapter 5, we get another little hint that Nick wants to do this the right way. Gatsby offers him a little side business, right? And I gave you a quote that you can look up in that little search box. I want you to quote that and explain how this quote and this point shows that Nick too wanted to earn his money the right way. Okay, and then lastly, Nick leaves in chapter 9, quits his job, and quite comes back home, right? And I want you to find a quote and explain how this shows that Nick failed in achieving the American dream. Now, here's the thing. While there's not any direct evidence of Nick's business success or failure, it doesn't really talk a lot about how well he does as a business person in this book. I think the fact that he's returning home, you could argue, means he failed, right? I think that if he was doing really well, he probably would have stayed and continued on working. Then lastly, for your conclusion, I just want you to kind of sum this up and explain how if someone told you the story of Gatsby and the story of Wilson and the story of Nick and said Gatsby wanted to earn his money the right way, he couldn't, he became a criminal, in the end he dies. Wilson wanted to earn his money in the right way. He worked really hard, he was a failure, and then he died. And then Nick worked really hard, he wanted to earn his money the right way, and in the end he quits and goes home. This shows that the American dream is unrealistic, right? So you just kind of sum it up everything you did. Now, I'm going to offer, and I'll put this online, a class period or two over the next week where I'm available to answer questions if you have them. Feel free to also send me emails if you have any questions. And also, if you would like to chat briefly online through Google Chats, we could do that too. Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone has opportunity to get their questions answered. So start by filling out this document, and then you're just going to go through each of these questions that you answer is a new paragraph or a new part to your paper. Okay, so I hope this helps. If you have other specific questions, please let me know.